Alright, good evening everyone. This is Tim, and this is the Band of Bards Comics Chat. We have a special episode tonight. We're going to keep it short, to the point. Partly because it's the end of the month, we're all exhausted, and just have a couple things we really want to talk about tonight. Specifically, Prospects number 2, which is currently live for pre-order through Diamond. And of course, the Magni and Mighty Kickstarter, which launched on Monday. But before we get to that, let's do a little mail call first. Just about every single week, seems like there's another comic coming in the mail. And this week, Frankie White's The Amber Door came. And trying to get something that isn't super glary. That's a little better. And I believe this is the cover from Rio Burton. Rio's fantastic. She's done some covers and is doing more covers with us, so it's always a thrill to get something that she's worked on. And it just got 3 different covers with this. This is fantastic. I will admit I haven't taken these out of the bag yet, and couldn't tell you everybody off the top of my head who's worked on it. Fantastic job though by Frankie White and team, and I'm really looking forward to diving into these. So kudos, Frankie. All right. Oh my God, there's too many piles of things here. So let's get into it a little bit. I'm gonna start off by talking Prospects number 2, and I'm going to quickly share a screen here from our Global Comics page. And if you didn't see the big news with Global Comics today, they partnered up with Source Point Press to do a big like print on demand thing. Really cool. Lots still to dive into on that. It's exciting though. That's pretty neat to see everything that Global Comics keeps doing. And I'm gonna pop a link in here in case anybody wants to check the page out themselves before I start to share it. But there we go. All right, so Prospects 1 and 2 is up on our Global Comics website. I'm gonna go through 2 really quickly, talk about the pre-order code and everything like that. So this is the second issue of Max's 9-issue miniseries, mini maxi. If you missed Prospects number 1, you can still tell your local comic shop to order it through Diamond. Easiest preview code in the world to remember: AUG for August, AUG 22 1234. AUG 22 1234. Easiest thing. So give that to your LCS. Make sure you get a copy of Prospects number 1 while you order Prospects number 2. Put it on your pull list. And if you want to first check it out, come to the Global Comics page. Link is in the chat there. You can see the first 10 pages of Prospects for free. Really cool cover. If you remember Prospects number 1, the cover is Max by himself checking out at a grocery store, and he's surrounded by zombies and cyborgs. So number 2 is kind of a flip-flop of that, of a little zombie in the middle surrounded by people. And Chris did a fantastic job on the layout and design. Really love how we've kind of standardized some of these pages here, and it just looks nice. You know you got a Band of Bards comic when you pull that cover open. All right. So number 2, right at the end of issue number 1, Colin's kind of stranded there, doesn't know what to do, and so he's just kind of killing some time before going home and stopping for a bite to eat. This is a really funny issue. The story just kind of picks up again where issue number 1 left off. We continue to meet new characters, learn more about the town of Ridgeville, start to understand again like what's going on here with this place. That it's really at the heart of the story. What I love so much about it is that it's about a small town down on the rocks, economically depressed, being taken advantage of by a couple of fast-talking businessmen who turn out to be bad scientists. And so you have some really quirky humor to this, very very akin to like Army of Darkness, and just a lot of absurdist humor. But so at the heart, you've got a town much like Buffalo is, much like how Pittsburgh, where Max is from, is like a lot of the Rust Belt, but a lot of places in the American South and all over, that you got a small town taken advantage of by basically swindlers who promise economic prosperity and pull a fast one on the town. It turns out that the promise that they're making, oh my god, the circle of death. The promise that they're making, right, is to return economic prosperity to Ridgeville. There we go. And basically, town leaders just have to not interfere with them. Where have you seen that before, right? I always think of the episode of The Simpsons with the monorail. Again, if you like The Simpsons, you're going to like the sense of humor in this book, Prospects. And what happens is the scientific breakthrough that these two mad scientists, Farsimov and Grabowski, are working on is to unlock the secret to immortality, but their methods are to either turn people into a cyborg or turn them into a zombie, and you live forever. Some life. But over the course of like 150 years, this has continued on generation after generation, where it's called prospects, because any prospect out of the town, anybody who shows any kind of talent, smarts, any kind of level above mediocre, is drafted into these competing armies. And after so many generations of brain drain and conditioning like this, the townspeople start to feel like that's an honor to be drafted into these armies and to be turned into a cyborg or a zombie. So again, absurdist humor, kind of like a funny twist on American culture surrounding college athletes being drafted to pro leagues. And there's a lot of things mixing into this, which is nice because there's a lot of depth to the story, but it's also hard to quickly explain why Prospects is such a great comic, because there's so many things to it. So many intricate layers of humor and intelligence in the storytelling, layered on top of, the Gendy Tarkovsky style of art there that anybody who grew up watching Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, you immediately recognize that art style and you love it. So, tugs on the heartstrings of the geriatric millennials. Certainly is a story that anybody who grew up in one of these down on your luck towns, it's always just so desperate. It's for revitalization, for the promise of jobs to return and the return of the middle class. Like, you'll understand a lot of the undertones to this story because you lived it, and you know how much it stings to know that the town's been sold out by a bunch of idiots running the place. And that's what you have here, of course, after so many generations of brain drain. All the intelligent people being drafted into these armies and turned into a cyborg or a zombie. You're left with nothing but idiots running the town. Certainly something that a couple of kids from Dunkirk, New York could recognize. I hope you all understand how great of a story this is, and do put it on your pull list. So you see here, Andrew is the hot prospect about to graduate from Ridgeville High School. kind of the polar opposite of Colin, right? Colin's in his early 30s. He's a loser who's never been picked by anybody, and certainly is being passed over to be drafted into one of the armies. And his grandmother, who he lives with, never lets him hear the end of it. Whereas Andrew is like the 5-star athlete prospect. Whoever gets him is believed will be the army that wins the big war. And Andrew's mom is all about it. She's so proud of him, is so excited. She's putting the pressure on him to, make sure he's always out there presenting himself the best way. A lot like what we see with, young athletes. But Andrew's about the only smart person in town who realizes how screwed up it is to want to get turned into a cyborg or a zombie. And he doesn't want that. He just wants to be able to live his life like any other 18-year-old would. So you see him kind of just out going for a stroll at night to blow off some steam. And he's confronted by these guys who, like a lot of dudes who peaked in high school and went nowhere in life. They want to try to give him a piece of their mind. And you're left here with this cliffhanger. That's the last of the free pages on Global Comics. If you want to see the rest, you gotta go pick up Prospects number 2. All right. And with that, let me cycle around a little bit. And I'll pull up the order code there for you and drop it into the chat. So order code for Prospects number 2 is OCT October 22. If anybody's unfamiliar with these prospect codes, it starts with the 3 letters of the month, then the last 2 digits of the year, and then like a random 4 digits. So OCT 22 1483 is the pre-order code for Prospects. And you can go check it out on our publisher page at Diamond right there. All right. Next, we're going to quickly talk about Magni the Mighty, our last Kickstarter of 2022. Want to end the year with a bang. Go out with some, one more W on the crowdfunding front to celebrate. If anybody's been following Devin for some time, you know that Devin tried to crowdfund Magni last year, fell a little short. We loved it. We really wanted to see this comic made. So, we are finding a way. And Devin, we're very proud that Devin is one of our Bards. We're going to see this through. Get Magni fully funded. So if anybody's unfamiliar with it, Devin has structured this so that the first 5 issues start off with a prologue, so basically issue number 0. We funded the completion of that issue number 0, so that's a 24-pager that starts off this whole 5-issue arc. And the series itself is planned to be ongoing, with kind of like story arcs that are kind of like isolated within themselves, and have a different kind of like one shot in between each that is a standalone story all to itself. So if someone, say, doesn't catch on to Magni the Mighty in that first story arc, they can jump in at that separation issue in between and get a little bit familiar with the series and check it out. They can pick it up at the next story arc, and they really won't be missing out on too much. It's not like, some of the X books where to understand one series, you've got to go back and read a dozen other. We want to make this structured in a way that it's very easy for new readers to pop in at any time and check it out and not feel completely lost. So this first arc, 5 issues, starts with the prologue, then goes through issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. Issue 1 is the big part of what we're trying to crowdfund here, the cost for issue 1, and then some printing, of course, cover like the Kickstarter fees. And the rest of the associated cost of fulfilling that is something that the Band of Bards is also, taking care of or fronting that. So the money that we're raising through Kickstarter completely goes towards the creative costs, the page rates for the team, and printing this beautiful 54 page book. The 54 interiors of the story probably end up being more like a 58, 64 page book when it's all said and done. Really, really fun series, truly based in Norse mythology. And excuse my face in the microphone. I absolutely have had this right on my desk as reference material the whole time. Brushed up and read the whole thing several months ago as initial research and getting my head around how to talk about Magni the Mighty, and certainly to become more familiar with some of the lesser known Asgardian characters that are in Magni the Mighty. If you are familiar with Thor, if you've read those comics, watched the movies, you know a lot of the main and major gods in Norse mythology. Magni the Mighty takes place immediately following Ragnarok. And how about we pull up the Kickstarter page itself and talk through that a little bit. So we pick up immediately following Ragnarok. If you haven't watched the trailer, please do. That was my first attempt using iMovie. I think we did okay. I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much for that, but we did have major help from Brent Fisher, who did just another fantastic voiceover job with this trailer. Brent, of course, did the voiceover work for our first ever Kickstarter and the trailer for Final Gamble. Brent is amazing. They are the best around when it comes to voiceover work. So definitely, if you need somebody for narration and voiceover, Brent is the person for that. So we got the $7,000 goal. Getting close to 40% funded. Be completely frank, I like to have at least 50% by the end of that first week. And while Sunday would be the end of that first week, certainly you get to the end of the first 5-day cycle there. You can take them more in chunks like that. But at the same time, you always have to temper your expectations with Kickstarters. And we launched on Monday. On Tuesday, you had Sharp Wit in the Company of Women, which is just blowing things away and doing fantastic. Another great anthology from our friends Brent and Michelle over at Extra Pages Press. Go and check that out if you haven't already. It's awesome. They're going to just crush it again with that, just like they did with Color of Always. Brent, of course, is a bard. They are involved with From the Static, which, again, you can still order that through previews at your local comic shop if you haven't already. What else came out this week? Side Quest number 5, the final issue in Grant Stoy's series there. If you've subscribed to the Band of Bards newsletter, you may have noticed, if you read through everything in the special announcements, that we did in the past couple weeks sign Grant along with Minerva Fox to a yet unannounced title. So that'll be exciting next year. Certainly more to announce when we get a little bit closer to that title being launched. So another Bard there. Definitely go check out Grant and side quest number 5. What else we have? Grant State Punk. Travis Gibb, another Bard. He launched this week, and that's another fantastic campaign, another great comic from Travis and Orange Cone Productions. Would encourage everybody to go check that out as well. Gosh, I'm gonna kick myself for forgetting some things, but we'll make sure to come back because they're honestly were like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 killer Kickstarters that started on Tuesday. So it's crowded out there, and that just makes it even more appreciative and special when someone does come and back Magni the Mighty, because we know that there are a lot of great comics out there, and you know, we're in the same boat because we want to see them all, we want to read them all, and you start spreading yourself thin. Nature of Kickstarter, right? So if I can scroll to the right window and scroll down, here we go. Have my cursor on the wrong window. Alright, let's talk through that. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I am in love with this design of Mjolnir that David came up with, and Ibrahim colors. So there you go, Life After Ragnarok. So Magni is talking. It talks. Magni is a story. It's a series about the two sons of Thor, Magni, who you see right there, and his brother Modi. They basically have to figure out what their new destiny in the cosmos is now that Ragnarok has passed, and it's time to rebuild the 9 realms and reestablish some sort of semblance of order throughout the 9 realms, right? Because going all the way back to Bor, right? So you got Bor, then Odin, then Thor, and now Magni and Modi. We're the 4th generation of Asgardians to rule the cosmos. Gorgeous, gorgeous character designs. I love it. Letter Squids just did a fantastic job too with some of the interior graphics and some of the lettering there. It was a team effort there on the lettering front. So again, the fortunate thing having that first 24 pages done, we got a lot of material to share, right? We didn't want to go crazy putting up too many pages there. Right off the bat, we're going to continue to tease some throughout the next couple of weeks. I'm loaded the advanced reader up in the Global Comics, and I'm kind of debating whether or not to set that one live so that people can go and preview that whole 24 pages. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if maybe we'll do that as a backer benchmark unlockable item. So again, obviously we can tell who Magni is there with the big M buckle. His brother Modi is the bald-haired gentleman with the ferocious beard. I don't know about you, but I could just stare at these pages for hours. And I am a huge, huge Thor fan. I love the Thor comics, obviously the movies, who doesn't? You know, to me, the notion of this all-powerful God that's just ripped, you know, the power is just pouring out of him. And he's constantly dealing with self-doubt, whether or not he's worthy, and trying to prove himself time and time again, no matter the amazing feat that he can achieve, always has to go back out and prove himself again. So that is something why I love the Thor comics. And you mix in the gorgeous artwork and different mythology that it's based in. It hits on all the right notes for me. So Magni, the Mighty, is something else that just hits every right note in my mind. Again, the team, right? Devin R. Scott, the writer, the creator. Devin's fantastic. He's also an editor. Worked to help bring Worlds Away by Damien Becton to life. You can see there. So David Batista did the line art, but also some of the lettering. And then Ibrahim did just a killer job with the coloring. And then the Larry Squid's doing some more lettering and like some of the interior design and graphics. Interesting team. Just fantastic lineup of creators. Love the action. Love the perspective in this comic. I really should have more coffee before I do a live stream, but there's no way I can go to sleep then afterwards. So this is a struggle to make sure I'm not. I continue to rub some brain cells together and stay engaged in here so you don't go to sleep. So one of the things that's more alluded to here and not like explicitly stated, right? Magni, brute force, power, not so much on the finesse. My kind of guy. Modi clearly has a lot more of the magic and spells within him. A lot more of the Freya. A little bit of the Loki, maybe. By the way, not all of the familiar gods died in Ragnarok. A lot did survive, and you'll see them, and maybe some of them are still causing mischief, along with a lot of new enemies of Asgard that we have to be contended with. So, there they are, approaching Odin's hut. And what waits inside, we don't know yet. Well, I know, you don't. So maybe that's something that we can share soon. So, alright. I think we lined up some really great rewards. I personally like to keep things simple. I don't like to overcomplicate things, making all crazy packages and stuff. I like to keep some very, not bare bones, but very straightforward, uncomplicated rewards together, and then throw a bunch of add-on items available so you can kind of do your own a la carte thing there. Some basic digital rewards. Right, a digital, just a straight comic. And you have a deluxe, where you get a set of 10 digital prints, along with Devin's script. Always interesting to me to see different scripts, see how people format them, see their methods. Great way to just hone your own craft as a creator. Doing a digital sampler pack where you get what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? Yes, 4. 5, and actually 5 digital comics because Magni is a double issue. So you get 5 digital comics there. I believe for $20. Alright, so the digital is 8, the digital deluxe is 12. The digital sampler is $20. So 5 comics, $20. And I gotta keep flipping back and forth between screens here, so apologize if I'm a little click happy there. And then, if you're familiar with some of our past campaigns, you'll remember the full Bard. We have decided, as the catalog grows, we're going to switch it to strictly being a digital full Bard. It's just getting to be a little bit much. And also then your shipping costs get to be a little bit prohibitive to try to do all that. So for the sake of making it easier and a little bit less of an economic strain for the full Bard, we've switched it up to get strictly digital. I believe it is $100 tier. Yep. But within that, you're getting 9 full single issues. There are American light novel Sentience, a 150-page horror anthology from the Static, 60-page magazine-sized anime and Brody Can't Be Broken, and a 48-page samurai western. What is that? Hush Ronin by Jeremiah Sheck. You're getting quite a lot of digital comics in there for $100. I when I'm doing the pricing on these things, yes, it's a crowdfunding campaign, so you're supposed to put things at a little bit of a premium. Balancing act with everything, right? But I also dislike when I'm looking at a campaign and I feel like somebody may be taking liberties with the fact that it's crowdfunding and they're wanting a bit too much of a premium. I want to make it's a higher priced tier. It's there to bring in a larger chunk of cash. So obviously, no, I would not expect that thing to be bought by everybody. But for folks who want to still get real good value for that larger pledge, I do think that you're getting a lot of great comics at more or less the retail price of that combination. So if that's your thing, you like digital comics and you want to collect a whole bunch, that's a great tier for that. Alright. Moving on to the physical rewards. And let me scroll this sidebar back up. Right, you got the physical Magni, $15 for one comic. Again, that's a 54-page comic. That's a nice, big, perfect bound comic. It's a lot of great story in there for that price. And now we get to where I got to be a little bit crafty and maybe a little bit too clever for my own good. But Radatasker's message, if anybody's unfamiliar with it, Radatasker is a squirrel that lives in Yggdrasil, the world tree. Too late for me to be trying to pronounce these things, right? So, Radatasker lives in the world tree and travels throughout from the base of the world tree at the Fountain of Knowledge, and carries messages throughout, eventually making it to the very top of the world tree. And maybe if I pull out this book, handy book right here, I can get lives in the branches of Yggdrasil, taking the message from Nidhogg, the corpse devourer, at the roots, and eventually working their way up to an eagle. Unnamed. I thought that I actually was curious to see. I thought that there was a name for the eagle living at the top of the branch. But basically, Radatasker is a little shit stirrer, to put it in more modern terms. Kind of spreads news and stories, but is also a bit of a gossip and maybe embellisher. I don't know. I like watching squirrels. But anyway, so Radatasker's message here. It's a signed copy of Magni the Mighty. Obviously, the digital comes along with it, and you get this gorgeous Mjolnir bookmark. I was getting it all sized up and going over the specs again yesterday. This thing is 2.5 wide and 8 inches tall, and it's going to be it'll have like a thick covering on it, so that's almost like a harder plastic rather than a flimsier cardstock. According there to actually give you some heft there to that Mjolnir. And then a holographic Mjolnir sticker that, again, it's no tiny sticker. There are some big things, and it should be because it's freaking Mjolnir. But for my money, and I look at the rewards, I think that is probably the most bang for the buck, to be completely honest with you. $35, you're getting a signed copy. A lot of times people want like, I don't know, $20, $25 for the signed copies, just themselves. We're throwing in some pretty premium stuff. It's not like a regular old throwaway freebie kind of bookmark you toss in. These will be some really nice things. Actually, right there is the die cut holographic sticker, mock-up at least, and that'll be the same design that goes into the bookmarks. I'm trying to find die cut bookmark. I'd rather it be die cut, but going back and forth between that and a regular rectangle shape. But again, this thing's going to be huge. It's going to be heavy. It's not something that'll rip easily. It'll be worthy of the name Mjolnir. That rounds out the physical rewards, and then we go into the epic rewards. So the first couple there are the Uru edition. Uru is the type of metal that Mjolnir is made out of. And then the Loki Spell edition. So these are a couple of really neat covers. The Uru edition, it's going to be a full foil cover from Comics Wellspring. I am a sucker for foil. I absolutely love it. And if I could plaster everything with foil, I would. Both of these are going to be limited to 25 each. You'll also get the Mjolnir bookmark and holographic sticker. The digital print set comes along in each of them as well, and also, of course, the digital comic and Band of Bards logo sticker collection. So we have, if I was a smart person, I would have brought them up with me. But they're a regular Band of Bards logo sticker, and there's also ones that are like have a color scheme along with they're in line with like Final Gamble and Prospects. So nice little packages there. And then with the Loki Spell, it's a holochrome cover, which if you think back, if you ever collected baseball cards, football cards, whatever, and you had the holographic trading cards, that is probably the best way to try to describe these holochrome covers. But it'll be like one of those holographic trading cards, except the size of a full comic. It's the entire cover. So a couple different options. This one too is limited to 25. We have the holochrome and full foil cover available as an add-on option or add-on item after you select the main reward. So if, say, you just don't want all these things, you want maybe just the regular physical, but you're really interested in the holochrome cover, you can hit that as an add-on. There are only 25 of those available as well, so don't sleep on it. Become Mighty, that is, again, getting back into the higher price tiers, but 4 of the 20 are already gone. This is a chance to be drawn in to a future issue of Magni the Mighty. And remember, with the book we're making through this Kickstarter, the prologue is done. Issue number 1 needs to still be completed, so there is a chance you could even be in the book that you receive through this Kickstarter. So you have that. You get the copy that will come to you will be signed, and you also get a comic out of my own personal collection. So fun reward there. Nice little package. And the final epic reward is Bob Comics for Life. You get lifetime access to our full digital library. So $250, pricier Kickstarter reward, but this is something that just continues to grow in value every single year. If you're curious, remember we had looking in the digital full Bard, there were 9 single issues. There was the 150-page horror anthology from the Static, a 60-page manga that is magazine sized, right? On and on. That is just scratching at the surface of the amount of books that we'll be publishing between now and the end of 2023. $250. You're going to end up getting, off the top of my head, at least 3 dozen, within a year. I'd have to actually, I would have to look back at my publishing schedule, and not just the amount of titles going out there, but individual issues coming out throughout the entire year. That is a reward that, over the course of a year, over the course of 2 years, you're going to end up effectively paying, $2 for each single comic that you've got, and it just keeps going lower and lower the longer Band of Bards is making comics. So, yeah. And add-on items, like I said, there's a bunch. I wish Kickstarter let you just go and view add-ons without selecting a reward. Because obviously, if I select a reward, it's going to make me try to sign in, and then if I sign in, it tells you can't back your own project. So there's no way to actually navigate to them right now. That's very easy. But we do have, obviously, our standard logo and ANFO t-shirts. And if you're unfamiliar, that does stand for Asshole Nerds Fuck Off. That is our own take on the Dead Kennedys classic Nazi Punks Fuck Off, and applied to comics, because we all know that those people are out there. Sticker packages. You want to get yourself one of the holographic Mjolnir stickers or the bookmark. You can grab a comic out of my own secret stash, my own personal collection of comics. So much in the add-ons. Again, not trying to overwhelm anybody with all those options. Try to keep them simple. Try to make sure that we're making things as much of an a la carte as possible. But do check them out after you pick a main reward tier. And like I said, the production, the first 24 pages is done, ready to go. We've got the advanced reader together for media and for reviewers already. So if that's you, let me know. We'll get you that advanced reader. Issue number 1 is a 30-pager. And that'll be neat. That'll be wrapped up and printed and mailed to you. Pretty straightforward, right? And of course, I said printing with Comics Wellspring. We've used them in the past for small run of Final Gamble number 1, just to have a few more on hand. And then the comics from Prospects. So if you backed Prospects, you have an idea of the quality book that will come from Comics Wellspring. And then your standard versions and challenges there. So, alright, you're probably all very sick of hearing me go on and on about that. I promised a quicker live stream tonight. And I guess we are still under an hour. That's pretty good, because I am at the end of my rope for the week. I've just dropped the link for the Kickstarter in there, which I probably should have done a little earlier. But again, end of the week, my brain is fried. Oh. So next week, come on, open up. Next week will be exciting. I will be at New York Comic Con Friday, and just going in for the one day. Time to get out of Buffalo. Time to meet some folks in person. Time to spread the news of comics doing good, and hopefully spread the reputation of Band of Bards to some more folks, some more industry professionals. I've got a list of folks over in Artist Alley that I want to go meet, folks that we've worked with and talked with and chatted with and are trying, working to make some comics with. Certainly looking forward to meeting y'all. Gosh, it's exciting. It's my first time to New York Comic Con, first time to New York City. I laugh to myself because I've been to Seoul, and I've never been to New York City. So, strange thing when I've spent so much of my life here in Western New York. It's an 8-hour drive out to New York City. Actually, it isn't the easiest thing. But I do chuckle that my perspective or frame of reference for New York City is like, oh, it's going to be a lot like being in Seoul. So yeah, but there will be a Bardcast. Elise Russell will be hosting it, and it will be a bit of a Halloween costume event, I believe. First Friday in October, and just kicking that month off with on the right foot. So, do check that out. Tune in, and I'll be having fun in New York. And freshly picked up, I'll be dropping these off. First peek at them. Just got these printed off today. Not too bad, not too bad. This you may have seen if you picked up the Access Guide to the Black Comics Book Community. You may have seen this advertisement in it. Oh my god, I cannot get it straight at all. Right? We were not able to get Devin into that edition of the guide, as Magni had not yet been published. Next best thing, we backed the guide at a level that we were able to place an ad, but we put this in there because we were very proud of Devin. We wanted to make sure he was being acknowledged, being included in the book in any way we could possibly do that. So have that and a nice little QR code that will take you to the campaign. And on the back, Chris, of course, had this wonderful graphic that he made up. Both of these are part of the pinned tweet on our Twitter. And again, just want to make sure everybody knows about what's going on, and hopefully some more newsletter signups. So, close that back up. All right, this is going to be the last month where our previews solicits are, I don't want to say taking it easy, but at a very modest level. Right, this is our third month with Diamond. We wanted to be conservative in our approach to it, and that one of the fastest way to kind of kill your small publisher is to overextend yourself. Diamond is a big new step for us. We wanted to make sure we fully understood the process of selling and distributing through Diamond. So we made a conscious decision to only list 1 or 2 books per month for the first quarter that we were with Diamond. So that worked out all right, because then that pretty much carried us to the end of 2022 in terms of our in-store dates. And next month's previews, there will be 5 solicits. So we're jumping up from 1 or 2 to 5. And for the remainder of 2023, there will be 4 to 6 solicits every single month. So starting in January 2023, the items that are in stores starting that month drastically scale up, and that's by design. We'll feel confident in our processes by then, that we know that we will be able to reliably hit those deadlines, be a good publishing partner for retailers to have confidence in. That's very important for us, right? That's our reputation. That's our brand. You want to be known as a reliable publisher that when you place those orders, that retailer will get that product. So, yeah, exciting times. And one thing to note, prospects number 1, we did ask to push the in-store date on that back by a week because of the effects of Hurricane Ian. So flooding that's going on in Fort Myers, it's terrible. There's a lot of people impacted. It's a horrible disaster. So it's impacted the comics operation, which is incredibly insignificant compared to what else is happening down there. And I just want everybody to, give a heads up through here that if you did order Prospects #1, thank you. If you didn't, you still can, and it will be delayed by at least a week at this time. And once things kind of stabilize down in Florida, we'll be able to reassess and see just how bad the delays are going to be on the printing and all that. Again, I think everybody will be very understanding that in the grand scheme of things, comics isn't significant compared to the loss of homes, the loss of life that's happened in Florida. And just ask people to be patient and understanding with that, the fact that the comic is going to be delayed because of an incredible natural disaster. So with that, we'll segue into the PSA and wrap things up. So what I would say is, if you're living in an area that is affected by these hurricanes, and I am count my blessings that we're in Buffalo and the worst thing is a blizzard. Because if I've been in a typhoon, I would not want to live in hurricanes and deal with them every single year. But have an evacuation plan, have a little go bag that's full of supplies to survive for a couple of days, and have those medications wrapped up and waterproofed, have emergency contacts, know how to evacuate your pets. You can go to ready.gov for help with planning those things, because these natural disasters are not going away, and they're just going to continue to get worse every year. And that is your slightly depressing but very important PSA from a firefighter to this week. All right, everybody. Hope you tune in next week for Elise's hosting, and I'm sure it will go well. I will not be watching. I will be in New York City. Hopefully spreading some more good news and finding some more fans for Band of Bards. All right, till then, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Peace out.
And